My name is Travis Ratzlaff, and this is going to be my different matches from the Jiu-Jitsu Provincial Championship of 2024. So, sorry, this first video and the next one are going to be a little bit choppy, but this was the Absolute Division first match. So this means Absolute is all weight divisions and all belt levels. This was not my first match of the day, but it's the first one we'll be going over here because it's very quick and I do rather well. So, this guy's a purple belt and a little bit lighter than me. So, thankfully, this was quite advantageous for me. Now, at the start here, I'm just trying to get grips, and I had no real intention to wrestle. I pulled guard, and right away here, sorry about the cutting, but I end up on a leg lock on him. Pretty much right away. I'm just sort of hyperextending his foot, and he taps. It's very quick, and unfortunately due to the cutting, you can't really tell a lot of what happened, but I basically just pulled guard, sat down, and got the footlock victory. So this was a very nice victory to get. This was the first victory of the day, and yeah, it went well. On to the second match here. This was, again, another purple belt, another guy a little bit lighter than me. But that's totally fine. This guy, though, was significantly better than the last guy that I faced. As far as I could tell, he was very good. I believe he did win his division. So he got gold medal in his own weight class and belt level. So again, I go in and I pull guard, and the cut sort of loses that. But anyway, I'm trying to pull guard here, and right away my coach is telling me to go to an omoplata. So I pull my leg over top of his arm here to try and get his arm behind his back, and I use that to get on top. It kind of looks like we just switched places, but that's essentially what happened. I went for a submission, and then to avoid the submission, he had to fall onto his back, right? So now I'm inside of his guard, which is not a very safe place to be, but I did get 2 points for getting on top. He tries to go for an armbar submission there, but I'm able to use that to get up. And now I'm trying to pass his guard, right? I want to get past his legs. And so I managed to get into half guard here. No points yet, but I'm already able to start smashing. And just like really pushing on his head to try and make him turn away from me so that I can open up his legs and get fully passed to mount, which is what I do here. So I get my 3 points for passing the legs, and then I get another 4 points for actually sitting into into mount. So here he's trying to do what we call the cobra escape. If he could push me up over his head and get his feet into my armpit, then he could push me right off. So I'm trying to avoid that from happening, and I'm also trying to get my hand into his collar here to go for a collar choke. But he's doing pretty good here, defending all of that and making my mount very unstable, so it's difficult for me to attack without risk of him, getting out. So I try to go for a mounted triangle here, and then I fall off to the side to actually lock it. So you can see here I've got the triangle locked, but he's doing a good job of defending, right? He's trying to shoot his shoulder all the way in there and open up so that I'm not able to cut off the blood supply on his on his neck on his left side, right? So I'm trying to lock the triangle and make it as tight as I can. I have to switch the triangle angle, right? So I'm locking on the other side now, trying to expose his arm. I'm trying not to use too much energy here because I'm already up a lot on points and I've got a submission locked in, so I'm just trying to go slowly and I'm just trying to get the submission, right? So he's in a really bad spot here, and I'm in a very good spot, so I don't need to rush anything, right? I'm trying to take my time and work his arm out. So I've got, I'm trying to hug my leg forward, and he's able to get out. I was just burning my legs a little bit too much, and I didn't have the choke on, so he starts trying to pass my guard here, and I sort of stiff arm to push him away, and then I'm able to turn in towards him. Again, the cutting sort of missed that, but now I'm back in half guard on top again. And so because I started from a guard position, that counts as a sweep, so I get more sweep points. And now I'm trying to pass the guard again from half guard. He does pretty much the same thing in trying to sweep me out. This time he gets single leg X, so I have to worry about leg locks here. But because I'm very used to leg locks, it's very easy for me to defend that. Now I'm back in half guard on the other side. So again, I'm trying to put all my weight onto his side there, and I'm trying to push away his leg so that I can get back to mount as before, right? Just trying to advance my position He's doing a better job this time of trying to hold on to my leg and make it difficult for me to get past. I believe here I'm in what we call quarter guard. So he just has my foot, right? My knees are out and past, but he still has my foot trapped. So I'm still trying to get that foot free. As I try to get it free, he gets a nice half guard sweep off, which is very good. I was not expecting that at all. I had basically had my way in the match up till this point, but then he was able to pull off that move and get on top, which is very good. He got 2 points for that. So now I'm on bottom half guard, but that's a place I'm very comfortable and very familiar with. So my coach here was telling me I needed to get a sweep off. He wanted me to get back on top. So I tried going for an armbar. He pulls out, very good. But now I'm in full guard and I'm starting to go towards K guard, but he does a fun backstep here and basically passes to side control, but I'm able to wrestle up from there. He almost rolled on top here, but I was able to sort of stabilize my top position. Now he's got this crazy position. You can see he's bending my neck backwards there. And again, he tries to come on top, but he's not able to solidify it. I can get my arm free and then I'm back on top. So this is a leg drag position. So his knees are pointing away from me, which is very good for passing. So I'm able to pass his guard and stabilize top position. Now I don't want to keep going though, because you can see his grips on my collar. If I do try to go to mount here, he's going to get the baseball bat choke. And so that's what I'm worried about. That's why I'm not going forward. He tries to go for it anyway, but I posture up to keep that from happening. And then he has to let go. So I was trying to go to knee on belly from there, but the time ran out, and as you can see, I've got 14 points, he's got 2, so this was a victory for me. I'm sort of sad that I couldn't get the submission, especially because I had a fully locked in triangle, but oh well, not complaining, and I got a victory. So this guy was very fun to go against. He was very good, but got the win. All right, so now on to the third match. This guy I'm facing, he's a blue belt, right? So a little bit lower than purple belt, but he's also had to win 2 matches to get to this point, and the winner will go on to the finals. So he was big and strong, right? He's a little bit older, but he was very, very strong. So right away, again, I don't want to use a whole bunch of energy in the stand-up game with him, so I just sit down and I start pulling him into to my half guard here. He was very solid, very strong guy. So I'm trying to load him up, but he's very stable. So instead I loop through for a leg lock attack here. So you can see I've got my legs wrapped around his leg, and I'm trying to push him away here so that I can extend. I've got my arm wrapped around his leg here. And what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to extend my upper body and put my hip pressure into his foot. And that's what I'm doing here. And there you go. You can see he tapped. I wanted to do that slowly because that's a ton of pressure. He was limping a little bit here, but he was okay after. Just a little tight at first. That's an Achilles lock, so it puts on a lot of pressure. I tried to apply it slowly so that it, wouldn't do any lasting damage, but yeah, he's fine after. Again, I wanted to get this one done quickly because, oh boy, the next guy, I didn't want it to be ready for him, So now I just want to set the stage here a little bit for this next guy. This guy, Hunter Lee, I didn't know anything about him before the competition, right? I was called up a couple days before the competition was happening. They're making up the brackets. And they tell me, hey, there's a couple of brown belts a little bit heavier than you. You could go against them. But there's this blue belt, right? That is the same weight as you. He could be in your division. He's a bit of a wrestler. He's a bit of a younger guy, so we don't really want to put him with these older brown belts. That should have been, a big enough warning to me that this guy was going to be trouble, but I was like, okay, he's a bit of a wrestler. Sure, no problem. He's still a blue belt. I should have no problem, right? You saw what I did to the last blue belt. However, this guy, I learned later, and actually after the first match, he came up to me and he apologetically said that, he's on Team Canada. This guy is an extremely accomplished wrestler. He's been grappling for way longer than me. He's been grappling for maybe 15 years in the higher weight divisions as well, right? So the most recent result that he had was on the, Santiago 2023 game where he won 7th. He won 7th in the world. So this was a world level competition, and he's won the seventh place. So anyway, he's insanely good. He's had a couple MMA fights, as you can see here, but he's just dominated them, right? He's dominated these 2 MMA fights so severely that nobody wants to fight him, right? Nobody local, if you're an MMA fighter and you're offered to fight this guy, nobody says yes, because he's such a good wrestler. He's so dominant, right? This guy has been winning competitions since 2018, okay? That's shortly after I started training jiu-jitsu. This guy was already winning national championships, okay? Junior World Bronze 2019, Junior World Team National Champion in 2018, 2019, Cadet World Team and Junior World Team, 2 times National Gold Medalist, Canadian Cup Bronze Medalist. So anyway, this guy is insanely good, right? He's the best in Canada in his division. He's 7th best in the world in his division. And there's a good chance that he's going to the Olympics this next Summer Olympics. So he's insanely good. And he was just given his blue belt recently, but of course they didn't want to put him with blue belts because they saw his pedigree. And this is the guy that I get to go up against. So it might look a little bit slow and not very much happening. But when I tell you this guy has pressure that I have not ever felt before. And yeah, anyway, on to the matches. So this being the first match of the day, the problem is always going to be the adrenaline dump, right? The nerves are high, the adrenaline's high, so I'm just trying to not use too much energy, right? I didn't know much about him at this point. I know he's a wrestler, so I'm like, okay, he's going to come at me, he's going to take me down, so I'm just going to take my grips and I'm going to pull guard, right? That's what I do. I do it successfully, and right away I'm trying to pull him into guard, and I can start feeling the pressure right away, okay? He has such an insane base. I believe throughout the entire day, he faced 2 other brown belts as well as me, and he faced some 280-pound monster, and he just destroyed them all. Nobody scored a single point on him. Sorry to have a bit of a spoiler here, but you saw his record. I'd be surprised if anybody could. So in this position, I'm keeping him in my guard, right? This keeps him from being able to get past and squish me. But this being the first match, I still don't really know what I was in for. So I'm trying to go for stuff, right? I try to go for a bit of a triangle there. No, his pressure is just perfect, right? And then as I open up to do that, okay, he gets past my leg now. And he's just passing. And again, I spar with black belts all the time. People who go to worlds, high-level competitors, I can usually keep my guard. It's one of my strong points is keeping my guard and keeping people from being able to pass. So this blue belt is already, given me quite the challenge that I was not expecting. So I'm just trying to get on my side here. I'm trying to get him back to some type of guard. I was trying to go for half butterfly because I wanted to elevate. I wanted to get underneath him and go for a leg lock. I wanted to try to go for a sweep so that I could get on top because I'm pretty happy with my top pressure usually, right? So I get a little bit of a sweep started there, but right away his base is so solid, right? No way can you tip this guy over. So I go back down. I'm like, this is not a good idea. If I get into a wrestling exchange with this guy, it's not going to go well for me, right? Because I know he's a wrestler. So I'm back in. This is what we call knee shield, right? So I've got my knees in between me and him. It's sort of locking him away, right? So he can't put forward pressure on. It's more of a jiu-jitsu move. So he doesn't have, a really good way of getting past it. But at the same time, his fundamental grappling is just so strong that there's no way I'm able to get any of my stuff to work on. Right? I'm trying to grab his collars. He then does a good thing here. This is what you probably saw me do against that purple belt from before. He's going on his side and his base, right? He's just spreading it out. His legs are crazy strong, so I'm not able to really elevate him here. You can see with my left leg, I've got a butterfly hook. I'm trying to lift him with my foot, but he's in such a position where if I try to go for that, I know he's going to slip right past my guard, right? Because his weight is just distributed perfectly, right? It was very annoying. The amount of pressure, again, I sound like a broken record, but the pressure was crazy here. And I'm trying to get my stuff back, right? So I'm trying to frame against his neck here. I'm trying to get a collar grip to push him away so that I can maybe get some proactive stuff going. But he's just laying all of his weight on me, and he's doing it in such a way that Like, it's just tiring me out, okay? He's not very good with submissions, I can tell. Like, he's not able to threaten anything as far as an actual attack would go, but he's able to be so positionally strong that I'm not able to get anything going on him, and he's able to sort of do whatever he wants to get past my legs and to squish me. And that's really his objective, is to just get past and squished. And my objective is to try and keep my legs in between us and try to get an attack going here. So I shoot up a triangle again, but he's so good. He's so fast. He's able to get right out of there, but at least I'm back in guard, right? This is sort of my safe space with this guy. He told me later, though, the reason that he wasn't very good at getting out of this position is because he's trained a lot for MMA, and in MMA, here you could be raining down punches, so it's not really much point in getting past. But here I got a triangle. This is probably the closest I ever got to getting anything on him. I've got an almost locked triangle, and there he goes. He's right out, and he's starting to pass. I try to go for a leg lock here, so I'm trying to wrap around his leg in a K guard. So we're kind of going out of the screen here. But then I try to wrestle up. I sprawl my entire weight. He just picks me up and dumps me. That was the most... That's when I knew I was toast, really, for the rest of the day. A full sprawl. Like, I do this to people all the time. Nobody can do anything against me when I do that. And he just straight picked me up from a full sprawl, straight up, and he gets to side control here. And this is... That was it. That was sort of the beginning of the end. His side control is literally world class, and so I'm doing what I can to just sort of frame him off and frame him away, but he's not opening up to go for attacks like I normally would expect, right? Because he's a wrestler, he's not a jiu-jitsu guy. So I'm unable to push him away, unable to get space. I'm doing what I can, right? Doing little bumps, little bridges here. I'm starting to be a little bit riskier, right? But I don't know yet how good his submission game is, so I'm still a little bit worried about that. But I really shouldn't have been, right? I throw up like a little attempt at a buggy choke there, but that's not going to happen. His base is too good. And he just squishes me here. I'm pretty sure this might actually be how the rest of the round goes. Is him squishing me. He goes to knee on belly there. I quickly knock him off. I don't want him to get points for that. Amazingly, he only has 3 points at this point in the game, which is just crazy. He only has guard pass points, even though he's been in such a dominant position the whole time. I'm using weird tricks here to try and get on my side to sort of try to flip him over or get like a deep underhook so that I can come back up on the other side, but nope, couldn't do that. A funny story actually that his teammates told me after my matches with him. They say that they have MMA classes with this guy, and they told me that if he ever shows up late, then they often joke about should they lock the door, and not let him come in, because he just destroys everybody. All of his sparring partners just have no chance against him. It's just wild. The best compliment I got was that when he's training with them, his training partners there, they can't make him sweat, right? This dude doesn't sweat, but in his matches with me, he was sweating. So, I could at least make him work hard. I tried to go turtle here, right? So I was just trying to get out of side control, That's all I wanted to do, because all of the pressure he's able to put on my lungs was insane. So I was able to turtle out of it. That's a common strategy I have. But then he's very good against turtle, right? Because that's a very common wrestling move. But I try to spin back forward towards him to get a guard back. And I think I'm successful, but unfortunately we're outside of the mat here. I had a second camera angle, but I was the one streaming this event, so there was nobody to switch the camera angle except for me. So unfortunately we didn't switch to the camera that could actually see what's going on. I'm not sure if I think we reset here. Did he reset? No, he's just going to let it keep going. Okay, so he got mount points here. So he was able to pass again and get to mount. Unfortunate. Very unfortunate. This guy. It's strange too, because the moves that he does, when you watch them, it's like, oh, that looks kind of basic. It's no problem. But until you feel it, right? As soon as you feel it, you're like, oh yeah, this is another level, right? Nobody else can do this to you. Like, it's the simple, basic moves. But there it goes. The time ends, and he wins via points. It's only 7 points. I'm actually pretty happy about that. It doesn't really reflect how dominant he was, but he got his 2 points. He's got his 7 points and 2 advantages. So I got nothing, as you can see. Absolutely nothing against him. So, oh boy. So this was best out of 3. So I knew that right away I was going to have to face him again after a small break. So let's get to that. The goal here with match 2 was to do the same thing, right? Pull guard and go from there, right? So I get into my crouch, I'm going to pull guard, and no, he doesn't let me do it. He just double legs me, and I leave. I get launched, right? I fly off the ground. Thankfully, I was able to get my legs back in front of me, so I had a bit of a guard again. But he didn't give me the chance to pull guard, unfortunately. He just launched me. So he gets his 2 points for that. He gets his wrestling in and puts me right on the bottom right away. Unfortunate. So I've got my knee shield here. And I'm going to try to do the same thing. Now, I strategized with my coach, right? My coach is Jason Church. He's awesome. He was a wrestler as well. Not as high level a wrestler, but he was a pretty good wrestler in his day. He's also like a high level black belt. He goes and competes at Worlds, Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. He's very good. Very, very, very good. So I was strategizing with him between these matches, and I was like, okay, what can I do against this guy, right? And I don't even know if he could have beat this guy, to be honest. He's so strong, so good. Maybe he could have, but it would have been a real challenge. So the strategy was, pull guard, get him in guard, lock him, keep him in here, and just try to go for submissions. You want him to go for what's called a Bravo submission, and that's where you pull out his gi here, and you bring it behind his neck, and then you try to grab with both arms and go for gi chokes, right? He was asking the ref here if he could go for what's called a can opener, which is not allowed. But he wasn't totally sure. Can opener is allowed in MMA, but pretty much no jiu-jitsu tournaments. It's where, if you're in the guard here, you pull the head towards your chest here, and you kind of crank his neck in order to get him to let go of the guard. But he wasn't allowed to do that. So here, I'm just trying to stay in the guard, right? This was the game plan. I'm going to stay in the guard, and I'm going to try to go for submissions, right? So I'm trying to grab his collar here. I'm trying to work my hand up higher on his collar and then work to the other side, because if I can get a hand on both sides of the collar in like a cross grip, I can start going for chokes. But yeah, again, super strong guy, very good base. Anytime he stands up like this, what I want to do is I want to underhook his leg with my arm and like spin under for a leg attack, right? That's my main key to victory. That's what my coach was like. Okay, you got 2 ways of beating him. Okay, you can get a leg lock, or you can get his back and choke him out from the back, right? Those are the two positions where I would be, by far most likely to get a victory, right? But he knows this. He knows that I'm a bit of a leg locker, and obviously he doesn't want me to get on his back, right? That's pretty universal for all combat sports, right? Wrestling, MMA, jiu-jitsu, all of them agree that you don't want anybody on your back. So he's already very good at keeping that from happening. But since he's sitting on his knees here with his feet back there, and he's got such a stable base, there's no way that I can get access to his legs. And what he's doing is to keep me from messing with him at all, right? There's lots of submissions I'd like to try to go for here, but what he's doing is he's putting his arms on my biceps, on my elbows there, and he's just pushing them away, right? And he's just trying to push me away. So, this is very much anti-jiu-jitsu, right? He's just trying to keep me from being able to go for any submissions at all, and that's basically it. It's borderline stalling, right? In fact, I believe he does get a stalling call against him at some point in this match. Some of the other refs are saying they probably would have given him even more, just due to the nature of how he was playing, right? Just kind of anti-jiu-jitsu, just kind of shutting down and just keeping anything from happening, right? I was trying to do lots of things, trying to work my way around, trying to make something happen, and basically all he's doing is keeping anything from happening, right? Which makes sense, right? I got no problem with that, knowing that you know, he's a very good wrestler, an MMA guy, but gi jiu-jitsu against a brown belt, you know, when he's a blue belt, of course, he'd be worried about submissions. So him just being super defensive in submission attempts makes total sense to me. So there, he managed to knee slice through. Now, again, that's a position I normally can trap people in, but not this guy. He went right through. Too much pressure. So to avoid the side control, I go right back to turtle. All right, so I'm on my hands and knees, and I'm just trying to keep a wide, strong base here. He's trying to pull me over to try to expose my stomach and everything so that he can squish me again. But here I'm quite happy to be in this turtle because it just completely removes all the pressure that he might have. Right, so I'm in a turtle shell. They call it turtle because I'm just being super defensive here and trying to keep him off. But I'm waiting for an opportunity, right? I'm very familiar with this position. When people try to do stuff against me, when I'm in this position, I wait, and right there, you saw he was trying to flip me over with like a wrestling move. But as soon as I felt his pressure come off, I was able to turn to face him and get a guard again. But as soon as I do that, man, he just blows past, and he's already starting to try to pass my half guard, right? In just the perfect technique, right? I taught this in a morning class. One of these mornings I was teaching this exact half guard pass because it's just so good, and he's already doing it against me like as good as I've ever done it, or even better, right? He's just that good. So he's pulling his knee through, he's backstepping, and there he is. He's passed. He's back inside control. And the only description I can give is that he gives no space, right? I managed to get back to turtle, but he's just giving me no space. I'm waiting for opportunities. I'm trying to like move him around a little bit, trying to get opportunities to get anything to happen, but no, this guy is giving me no space. Constant pressure in every which direction. The only ways that I could potentially move are bad for me, right? It would improve his position. So, yeah, no space. I'm back stuck in turtle, trying to wait for an opening, trying to make something happen. But yeah, this guy doesn't give openings, right? Most humans give openings. Not this guy. Not him. So this time, there we go. He finally leaned back a little bit, and he gave me the opportunity I needed to go to guard. I'm trying to go butterfly sweeps here. Nope, his base is too far back. He's sprawling out. He's got all of his pressure, all of his weight way back there. He's too solid, right? It's like trying to sweep a brick wall. It's just not going to happen. I try to grab his collar, try to go for triangle. Okay, maybe, but nope. Still, again, too much pressure. I have his collar out this time, though. I'm trying to go for that Bravo choke. So this time I actually got it. You can see I'm trying to feed it around behind his head here. But he's pushing forward now with his knees to try and get his head over top of mine. And that's making it very difficult for me to get like my gi grips. And you can see he's using his left hand there to push my arm away. So I keep trying to swim my arm around. And he keeps just pummeling back inside, pushing my arm away, keeping me from doing anything. But I've got this collar grip, and I'm like, okay, this is what my coach wanted me to get. This is the choke we showed in class the other day. I should be able to do this, but no. Look at that. He's up on his feet, pushing right into me. And then he's back as soon as I have to let go because he's just putting all his pressure in. Oh, there we go. The ref did finally give him that DQ. Or negative point. If he gets 4 of those, he loses, but he only got 1. So I'm trying to feed this collar out. I'm trying to get a choke, but you can see he's just completely shutting me down here, right? He's just pushing forward. He's just pushing on my arms, not letting anything happen, just stalling. Which, again, I'm totally understanding if I'm doing that. I have absolutely zero gripes with it. It was a good strategy, and it got him the victory. My coach was a little bit less happy with him, but no, I've got no blame at all for him. He did amazing. This is him winning, gold medal in our 2-man division, best of 3. So after this, I had like another hour before I had to compete in the absolute, and you already saw the first 3 matches. First 3 matches of the absolute that thankfully went better for me than against this guy. But of course, this guy, Hunter Lee, he goes into the absolute and he demolishes 2 more brown belts and a massive blue belt. And then we get to meet again in the finals, and that is the next match. So let's get on to that. Right. The final match of the day. This is the absolute final. This is after, I've won 3 matches in a row, so I'm feeling pretty good, but also I know who this guy is. So after being taken down so violently in the first match, I pull guard again, and he tries to do a cartwheel pass. Unfortunately, we had another bit of a freezing there, but the cartwheel pass was so fun. Thankfully, I'm still able to get my guard back. I have a reasonably decent guard, thankfully. You're really going to need it with this guy. And again, the plan is to get into the legs or get to the back or something, right? I managed to lock up my guard again, though, right? So because I guard pulled, he didn't get a takedown points. And so now my goal here, my path to victory, is to either get a leg lock or just try to go for some gi strangles, right? Because I could potentially get an advantage point. If I try to go for a submission here and it doesn't work, I can potentially get an advantage. That's what I'm trying to go for here. I have the collar on one side, and I'm trying to lever my other arm over and across to get a potential collar choke on, but no, he doesn't even let it get close, right? His coach is telling him exactly how to defend it, unfortunately. So he's able to get out, and I'm back stuck here. Now, for this entire match, my coach is telling me, don't open your legs, don't let him out. And I agree, I absolutely shouldn't have. But at the same time, nothing's happening, right? He's able to stall, he's able to push away my arms. This is what we already had the last match I went with him. I didn't want to do that again. So this was my path to victory, but at the same time, I wanted to have something happen. So I'm trying to work some stuff here. I've got my leg up into like a rubber guard thing, but right away he does the proper defense. He pushes forward, so that's no longer a good move because it starts bending my foot towards my face in a very uncomfortable way. So yeah, he's doing his good thing stalling. My coach there, he was the original guy who's going to ref this match, but he had to get this other guy who's like a national level ref here, because he knew that if he refed it himself, my coach, if he refed it himself, that he was going to give this guy too many stalling penalties and he was going to DQ him, right? And so he didn't want that to happen, right? He wanted it to be fair, and so did I, right? I don't want to win because this guy gets DQ'd for stalling. That'd be no fun. So we got this ref to ref the match, which was good. And there's just enough going on, right? Like I'm just constantly going for attacks, and he has to keep doing stuff to defend it. Here, I think it's just because I was pulling out of his jacket, and so his jacket was riding up here a little bit. The ref just paused it and pulled his gi back down, which is unfortunate because that's kind of what I was trying to do. I was trying to pull his gi out, but oh well. Sometimes the refs will do that. I'm trying to go here again, but hey, I'm opened up my legs like my coach told me not to do, and right away, boom, he's blitzing past my guard. I'm in half guard again, but he's putting on some insane level of pressure, and I'm able to sit up, thankfully, and I'm trying to go for a butterfly sweep, but he's instantly into the body lock pass, and he gets right past my legs again. But to avoid him getting the turtle or the pass points or the side control or any points really, I instead go for turtle right before he can get his points for passing. And I do get my turtle off, and I get an advantage for my choke, which is cool. So, but he gets 4 points for getting my back here. This was the first time he was in an actual like submission threatening position, so I was kind of surprised. I wasn't really worried about him getting submissions until this point, but thankfully my back defense is something I practiced a lot, so there's no way he could get a choke there, but he did get his points for the position. So I'm back in turtle again. I'm trying to avoid points, and I'm trying to get my guard back, but nope, too stable, too perfect pressure, too perfect timing, speed, pressure. This guy just sort of has it all. I'm talking quite a bit to try and make it interesting, even though he's really just squishing me here. I'm trying to see if I can roll through. And my coach here was telling me, he was yelling at me to say, like, just open up, right? Because he's wanting something to happen. He knows I need to get something in order to win this match, right? So even if it's going to put me into a dangerous situation, to get this guy to open up and do something different, I needed to give him opportunities, right? To hopefully change the game up. Otherwise, he'd just sit there the whole time. So I do. I open up a bit, and he gets this nice front headlock, which my coach does to me frequently. So I was able to survive that. And then he's trying to go for a Kimura lock here. This was the closest he got to any submission. He was, but I knew the time was low, right? They were telling me the time was low. So I knew I just had to hold on here and just keep him from putting my arm behind my back. And I was able to do that before the time ran out. So it's an awesome competition, awesome opportunity to compete with somebody of that high level. I told him on the podium, I says, I'll see you in the UFC sometime. I'll get to watch him there on the biggest stage of combat sports. That'll be fun. Or the Olympics, for that matter. This guy is going places. He's 4 years younger than me, and he's already at such a high level. He's going places, man. So it was awesome to be able to compete with him. Had a really fun day. Had at least a few matches that went my way, and then I got to experience some truly high-level grappling. So it was a fun day all over, and I would do it again, probably.